എന്താണ് ഡിസൈൻ കൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്? either in Malayalam or in English. If you can manage English, it's good. Okay.
So from my understanding, designing is a field where we create things for making people's life easier in face of difficulties using creativity and our intelligence.
Excellent. Excellent. What's your name?
Vaishnavi Kenayar.
Vaishnavi. Excellent answer. We could remove the chairs as well so that... Now, this is the first picture for you to look at. What do you think this is? And how is it significant or connected with design? What is this? It's a piece of stone, right? Can you tell me how is it connected with design? Just go back to your question, your answer. What was it that you said design was? Solving problems. How does it connect with design?
From Stone Age, we started using stones for creating tools that further led to the discovery of fire. And
do you think this is the right answer? Yes, it is. Wonderful. So I would need you to respond to these questions that I'll keep asking. You know what? So this particular tool is 4 million years old. Can you understand? Imagine 4 million years in the past. Right? So this happens to be the first example of a human being's creativity and a human being's critical thinking ability. Creativity, the power to imagine. The rocks have been there, the stones have been there, bones have been there all around human beings in the early days, in the early Stone Age, when human beings were not as civilized as we are today. Everything was there. But somebody imagined that life could become better if this piece of a stone, if I were to chisel it away, because I can't hold it. You need to grasp a piece, a tool. You need to grasp it properly in order to use it properly. Right? So in order to make it usable, handleable, they had to chip certain sides. See, a shape has been given to it. Right? Change, please. So this is a simple stone tool, one among the oldest from the East Africa, Tanzania. But this is the start of design. It was an industry creating these stone tools. It takes 1 more million years for this technology to evolve. Move, please. And this brings us to what design is and design thinking is. And we'll then move to careers in design. Right? So there is a very special way of thinking. It's called design. So design, now you know, is a way or is a discipline that helps you solve problems. The most important thing for a designer is to have the ability to imagine, like the primitive man, the Paleolithic man, had the ability to imagine something, a piece of a stone, to be of use. You needed to imagine that. How many people do you think can imagine in their heads that a piece of a stone could actually be used as a very important device? Not many. You need creativity for that. So all right, you have imagined. What is the next step? is for you to use logic, reason, common sense, science, understanding of technology to translate this dream or this concept or this idea, to translate it into reality. Right? So you need to understand the nature of the stone. Is it soft or is it too hard? If it's soft, you can chop it, chip it, change its shape, and then you can use it as a knife, as a spear, as a beater, right? So design is a combination of creative thinking as well as critical thinking. And both these are used for what purpose? To solve problems, right? Design thinking is what makes it possible for designers to do what they do. At present and in the future, the biggest job opening or career prospects are meant for designers. In our understanding, design has to do with, interior design. We limit it to thinking that it has to do with fashion design. Is that a fact? It has changed. As the world is changing very fast, is it changing very fast? Very rapidly. It's changing so rapidly. There are so many problems that everybody in the world is faced with. We are worried about water. We are worried about climate change. We are worried about global warming. We are worried about the sea, worried about the glaciers melting, right? So there are climate worries. There are worries in the society: literacy, poverty, malnutrition, hunger, drought, floods. These are all problems. Who is going to solve these problems? Of course, there are scientists, there are technologists, everybody, politicians, bureaucrats, administrators, all will solve the problems, but with the help of design. The problems will be solved, but they will be solved with the help of design. Always remember that. So what is this special way of thinking? What is design thinking? It has got 5 or 6 steps, right? Move. So these are the design thinking steps that we are going to take a look at quickly. So the first thing is, in order to solve problems, you need to know problems. You need to recognize problems. You need to identify problems, right? Otherwise, what problems are you going to solve? So you need to identify problems. And how will you identify problems? By sitting at your home, playing video games? We'll come to video games. Video games are very important. But before you get to the video games, you need to step out. You need to go out into the community. You need to understand your community. You need to understand your society. You need to understand how diverse the society is. Not everyone comes from your background. So there are people who are poor, there are people who are middle class, there are people who are rich, there are people who believe different things, right? So there is diversity in your society. There is hunger in your society, right? There is illiteracy in your society. There is injustice in your society. You need to understand these things, and this will be possible only when you go into the community. You know what is the picture? Can somebody tell me what this picture is? Anybody who can tell me what this picture is?
Anybody? ഈ പിക്ചർ ഏതെന്ന് പറയാവോ എന്ന്?
You can guess also.
നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയാം.
No problem. So this is a picture of a cave in Argentina. Argentina is a country in South America. Now, it dates back 50,000 years, created 50,000 years ago, and it's a cave painting. So the early people living in caves will create art, and they will make hand impressions. Now, the hand impressions that you see indicate living together, a community, and you also see diversity, different colors. So, a designer has to know the society. In the society, what you discover? You discover strengths of the society, great practices of the society. There is so much that is great in your tradition, right? But there are challenges also. There are problems as well. So a designer will identify the strengths, the great things in a society, as well as problems in a society. What do you do with the problems? So you understand the community, and next please. You identify the problem. And how do you identify the problem? What makes you identify the problem? You know what the word empathy means? Empathy. What does it mean? Empathy is the ability that a human being has to put oneself, to understand the problem of other. You understand? So if I'm hungry, and if you tell me that, oh, I'm hungry, I will understand your problem because I have experienced hunger. You understand that? I can understand your problem. So somebody who has never experienced hunger, do you think that person would understand if I tell you I'm hungry? Oh, I'm hungry. Please, go. I can never understand that person's problem. I will understand the problem only if I have empathy, if I can put myself in someone else's shoes. This is a painting by the great artist Van Gogh. Have you heard of Van Gogh? Sunflowers? And this is it. This is what we need to do as a designer. Go beyond what you see. So what do you see here? You only see a pair of shoes. But is that all? What are you required to do as a designer? Go where the shoes take you, which is you would like to imagine again. Who wears them? A rich man? A movie star? No. Who do you think wears these shoes? Can somebody answer? Who wears these shoes? A hard-working person, maybe a poor farmer, right? Broken shoes, hard-working, somebody who labors and work hard. That is what this you see, and that is what a designer does. You always find more in a situation. And it's not just a painting, it's what you see in real life. You understand people's problems. You go deeper into, what you see. That is empathy. So community, empathy, and once you have identified a problem, joblessness, what could be top three problems that you can come up with? Now this time I want answers. 3 problems that you would like to solve. Or not just ask them.
നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സോൾവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന 3 പ്രോബ്ലം ഏതെങ്കിലും. Any 3 problems.
Okay, from this side.
ഒരു ഇന്ററാക്റ്റീവ് സെഷൻ പോലെ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാം. കുട്ടികളും നിങ്ങളുടെ സംശയങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചോദിക്കാം. നിങ്ങൾ പറയുക, എന്തും പറയാം നിങ്ങൾക്ക്.
You want to say something? Come on. Bolo. 3 problems.
നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മലയാളത്തിലും പറയാം, സാറ് ട്രാൻസ്ലേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കും.
Either in ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ മലയാളം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ്.
In
Any problem, ഒരു പ്രോബ്ലം പറയുക.
See, here is a problem. If you don't answer quickly, we lose time. That is a problem. How not to lose time? That is a problem.
Yes.
Global warming.
Global warming. She said about global warming. Yes. One of the problems she said. Okay, giving a clap.
And now there are increasing in population and there are decreasing the demand for jobs.
Decreasing demands for jobs, right? Absolutely. AI and decreasing demands of jobs. That's a big problem.
And we need more food for now since the population is increasing.
Excellent. Food, more food. Yeah, so top 3 ideas. These are the problems.
Any problem you can.
And once you have thank you. What's your name?
Edwin.
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 Thank you, Edwin. So we have these 3 problems. Now, this is what we experience, that there is more heat. There is, more, the summer is long and the summer is hotter. Now, is that all? Is that something that you feel on your body, or is there something else happening? Now, the warmth going up or the heat rising has global impact. So, and each of these problems, more food, and it will also impact production of food. It will also, in a way result in jobs because, of several reasons. So what is the next step, please? Move. Is for you to, once you have identified the problem, what do? So that is when you start ideating, thinking, brainstorming about what is this problem? Where does the problem come from? Why did it happen? How can it be prevented? How can it be stopped? So you meet the community, you identify the problem, and then you sit collaboratively. You sit with friends in a class. You sit with your teachers. You sit with scientists. You sit with economists. You sit with historians. Right? And then you discuss, ideate. So there is, the temperature is rising. My grandfather tells me that April used to be very cool. The farmers would work according to how the climate would behave. Right? But now, it starts to rain in April. Our crops are failing. When we expect there to be rain, there is no rain. So this is a problem. Why is it happening? And then somebody will maybe say it could be perhaps because of the rising temperature. Because as the temperature rises, what will happen? The snow will melt, the snow from the glaciers, right? And it will rise. But is there any other reason why there is global warming? Why is the global warming happening? Because, excellent. You are excellent. So greenhouse gases, fossil fuels, cars, transport. In the last 50 years, human beings have been using fossil fuel. And what is it that happens as a result of our use of fossil fuel? Coal, diesel, petrol. What happens? It emits exhaust, which is the greenhouse gases. What are the greenhouse gases? You know what the greenhouse is? What is a greenhouse? It's a glass, it's a house made of glass, very much like this, right? It traps the heat so that plants inside this house can be supported and grown. Because outside it's very cold. So how do we grow plants from, say, the subtropical regions or the tropical regions? So we create a condition, we trap the heat. And that is what we have done with our planet. We have turned it into a greenhouse. with all the carbon dioxide and other, methane and other gases that are released, what happens? They have created a blanket around all over the planet. So the heat that comes in cannot escape, it is trapped. And that is the greenhouse effect. So heat that is trapped will lead to ice melting and lots of other problems, right? So you are ideating and then you come up with a solution, a hypothesis. You know what a hypothesis is? Hypothesis. There must be many science students. So a hypothesis is a working theory. It's not a theory as yet. So it's just a proposition that greenhouse effect or global warming is happening perhaps because of our overuse of fossil fuels. It is perhaps. In order to really find out whether your hypothesis is correct or not, what is it that you need to do? Next, please. You need to experiment. Is that a fact? So you are telling me that, it's because of all the cars. It's all the emissions. That is why global warming is happening. And then I experiment. You remember, after 2 years of COVID, what happened? Before COVID, what was the pollution level of the air? It was very high, it was very bad. All across the world, and in India in particular. After 2 years, what happened? When there were no cars, no buses, hardly any trains, you could not fly, life came to a standstill, there were no emissions, and what happened? That was, let's look at it as an experiment. When no emissions happened for 2 years, what happened? From Punjab, you could see the Himalayas. That is how clear the air became. There was no impurity in the air. The pollution was gone. So what happened to the hypothesis? Was it proven true or was it proven false? True, yes. See, you removed all the emissions and everything became great. Pollution was gone. Global warming came down. So that is what you need to do. Experiment. And once you have the answer, the solution to a problem, what is that solution called? It's a prototype. That I have here a medicine. Right? And it could mean that now we are the designers along with engineers will work on cutting down carbon emissions. Is it happening in the world currently? Carbon capture? Right? And very interesting things are being created to absorb carbon from the air. So, if you were a design student and you have come up with this prototype with a solution, while studying, you are still a student. And this is what you are studying as a design student. You are learning from day one till the last day. What you are learning is to solve a problem. You identify a problem, you come up with, ideate about a problem, you come up with a hypothesis, and then you experiment. In your final semester, you come up with the prototype and testing. So it is your solution. You have found an answer. Now, what can you do with that solution? Very interesting question. So normally, somebody doing a BA or a BCom or a BSc will finish the course, take a degree and find a job. This is what you'll do. Normally this is what happens. You'll be looking for a job or you'll be looking to be placed. But here you have this big opportunity in a design institution that you have a solution. You have a product that you have created. And most of the institutions, many institutions, and ours, We have an incubator. You know what an incubator is? It happens, the culture is very good here in Kerala. So it is an opportunity for a young designer with a solution to set up your own business, to set up your own startup, to set up your own enterprise. This is your product. And the government supports you with funding, the institution supports you with funding, and this is the big advantage, that instead of a job seeker, what do you become? A job creator, a job provider. This is a new thing, and the students of design have really taken it up, and this is what your country needs. This is what it needs. For young people like you to become more imaginative, to become more creative, to use science and technology and knowledge from liberal arts, humanities, understand your community, identify problems, solve them, and create your own ventures. Right? So this is the story of design thinking. This is what happens. Right? Next, please. And that is what the piece of a stone sums up. And I'm talking about, million years back. Next, please. Next. Take a look at some examples of design thinking. You know what that product is? Tata Swachh, for instance, it's a water filter. It costs very little. It was a product because in much of rural India, you don't get clean drinking water to drink. You don't have water to drink, clean drinking water. So how? There was a designer who thought it up, that if I use rice husk, and pound it and turn it into some kind of a filter, maybe the water can be cleaned. But this water, what kind of impurities will rice husk remove? Only, material impurities, dust and stuff like that. So how do we remove germs from impure water? And this is where the answer comes from science. Somebody said use silver nanoparticles. Nanoparticles are tiny particles of silver, right? And infuse it in the filter. And then the bacteria will also die. So for about 2,000 rupees, this is what you get. Now people can afford it. It's very cheap, right? The other is, what is this? This is a fridge. This is a refrigerator made out of earth, terracotta, mitti. The name is Mitti Cool. What is it called? It's a fridge made of earth. You can imagine how affordable it is. Somebody could imagine that why do we use the regular material, steel and stuff. Let me just use something that will organically, normally cool stuff inside. This is what a clay pot does. Because it's permeable, it allows for whatever is inside to evaporate and it cools. So this is design thinking. Next, please. Now we come to careers. And this is going to be very interesting. If you were to ask your parents, if you were to ask your grandparents also, right? When they were growing up, what were these careers that they aspired? So they would say, I wanted to become a lawyer or a barrister or an army general or a great doctor or a great scientist, right? A professor, a writer. Do you think the same aspirations are to be found today? If you were to do a survey, what is it that you find? because there has to be a need for that particular job. You understand that? You will be looking to find a career for which there is a market. Is that clear? Just imagine a career like water carrier, something, which was a normal practice 100 years ago. It's gone. What about cabbies or taxi drivers? Do you think in 10 years' time that job will exist? What about school teachers and professors? Seriously. You have AI now, right? Part of it is, it's all digital. So you can have, what do you think, Manoj, the translator? So there are people who wish to become translators. Do you think there will be a career in translations or translators? It's a very rich paying job. No. Professors, it will diminish. You will need good human beings as professors, but there are routine history lessons or fundamentals of physics, that could easily be, communicated over a MOOC or virtually, or you can have a robot, deliver that to you. Would you agree? But we are all human beings. We'll still say that we need a teacher. Please, can I get a teacher? I would like to understand. But you never know. With the way generative AI, you know what generative AI is? It's artificial intelligence. Generative AI is a program which a machine can carry out based on all the inputs from every conceivable domain, whether it's playing music, tabla, harmonium, violin, rock climbing, mountaineering, hiking, cooking, everything. Each information is put in that box, everything. And the machine, what does it do? It puts all the information in order. So it would say turmeric, okay, put it in the culinary box or cooking box. Hiking boots, oh, put it in camping or hiking adventure box. It's all happening automatically, and based on this collection, a new knowledge is being generated. You understand? That is why generative AI, it generates new knowledge. A few months back, we used to worry, so teachers would perhaps tell you, don't go for ChatGPT. Wasn't it a problem? And teachers would also worry, they do their exercise or homework using ChatGPT. And they will tell you that don't do it because the answers could be wrong. That was 6 months ago. Now nobody can tell you that answers will be right. So, do you think you'll still need a professor? We don't know. But what we will certainly need are human beings who are very smart in their heads, who understand their community, who understand the problem, because this will become a problem. And how do you then turn it off? How do you bring humans back? But till the time that happens, a human being, a good designer will be, next please, creating solutions, solving problems, because the world is theirs and there are problems that designers are called upon to fulfill. And the best thing about design is that you can take up any field of design based on your interest. Understand that. It isn't like, you are a sports person, but you have to get into a bank. Or your head is in number, but you have to start teaching history. There will be no mismatch. So you choose a line, a path of design, depending on what you're interested. It could be science, it could be technology, it could be social work, it could be adventure, it could be science or physics, working with nanotechnologies to solve problems. So whatever it is that you pick up, based on your interest, you will use it to solve problems, because that is what the world is looking for, and that is why the demand for designers. Come solve, right? Next. So I'll just inform you or let you know about the current trends, but I suppose you would already know that, because you use the current trends most, don't you? More than I do. You're familiar with each of these things. What is going on here? What is this? Huh? Virtual reality. So he's got a headset on and it's toggling. What can he see in the headset? What is visible to him? This is the mystery. So I'll tell you what this guy can see, because what he is seeing is what he has created, and he is a student. Right? This is called immersive education and immersive learning. And you can figure it out. But move, please. So these are some of the trends. And you are all familiar with it. The world that we are living in is no longer, the world that it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. It's a completely new world now. It's AI. And we are all happy about it, and we are all a little worried about it too. Right? So because AI can do what? It can help designers or anybody using that technology in automating repetitive tasks. And that is what we said. Teaching could be a repetitive task. Each day I come, I teach you something. Each day I come, I teach you something. Each day I come, I teach you something. And the principal will tell me, if you're going to do the same thing, we don't need you. I can do it using a machine. And that is where AI comes. It's a reality. Right? There are prompts and it automatically does things. VR. And we have seen it. It all happens, the OTT, the Netflix. How many of you are familiar with Netflix and other channels? Right? Yeah, Netflix. So there is something coming to you, and then it becomes better. You don't want to watch it like 3D movies. But could there be something more than 3D movies? Something that you saw earlier, the headset, the virtual thing. You become a part of the action. You put the goggles on, you have the toggle. And this is where video games come into play. Lots of people will think that video games are useless. But you remember how long ago that there was work happening on this path, and we were all very critical of it? Wasting your time playing video games? What was that car race? Nintendo and others. But now, what's happening? The same technology has come back now and is doing great things. It's now creating a real world for us, which is virtual. You put it on, you press a button, and you are in the Amazon. You are in the desert. You are on top of mountain. You really feel like you are there. You can look down, and you're just sitting on your chair and you're doing all this. Why is it important? Do you think it can help education? Do you think it can help us solve the climate problem or understand the climate problem? Because it can simulate, it can mimic the realities supported by AI. So what is the temperature today on the south side of Mount Everest? You have the data that the AI can use. You have virtual reality. It's warmer today, so you take your cap off. Or there is a storm coming, you put your cap on. Now, you become a part of that reality. It helps you understand reality. How is the sea level rising? The rate at which glaciers are melting, crop production, how the clouds are coming, or El Nino, the air is rising because there is a lot of heat. And what happens when there is a lot of heat? The currents, the air gets warm and warm air rises. And when warm air rises, what will happen? There'll be storm maybe, or, clouds come in and so on and so forth. But there could be a hurricane. There was a hurricane last, I think 2 weeks ago in the US, devastating. The Americans are worried about it. Helena. They have never seen scale of damage like that. Roads, American roads are swept off. That is the power of, nature. So, virtual reality. You can understand things better now, more truly, much better than what a book can teach you. Because you then become a part of the reality. What do you think is going to come next? Can you feel the temperature? I mean, you may say that, okay, I can see it, but I don't feel the temperature. Of course, 10 years, you'll feel the temperature because now you'll have a sensor. Because you're holding the toggle and it will tell you whether it's 0 degrees or minus or it's 50 degree plus. You can touch it and know this is what it feels like. So on and so forth. But how is it happening? Is God sending us these things? Then they are being designed. And where are they designed? In somebody sitting at home? No, because there is an industry. And what is the industry doing? It is looking for designers. Please come. And not those designers who are not imaginative enough. Right? And that is the market. So there is virtual reality and then there is AR, augmented reality. So virtual will give you, the look and the feel. You will be there in the situation, but augmented it will be enhanced. That reality will be enhanced by maybe sound, by sense. It's cold, it's hard, it's soft, it's wet, right? That it will be enhanced. So it becomes a complete immersive experience. I'm sure there are people who play FIFA here on video games. How real is the experience? All the players on the ground and the crowd. It's all there on the screen. It's all generated. Next. The other trend, as you are aware, is UI and UX design. This is something each one of you has a phone. So user interface, it will say, what do you see when you open your phone? Is the scrolling easy? And the experience of, the technology and whatever it is that's coming your way, and user experience, right? So this is all design. So gone are the days when we used to limit our understanding of design to interior design, where to put the sofa, where to put the chair. Gone are those days, right? It's not limited, or fashion. It's not limited just to these. Those two fields have also become huge. So that is why there is such an insistence now on digital design education. I'm sure it's happening at your schools. You're being introduced to the digital world. But how to control it? How to make it more meaningful? how to take the next step. And the next step is to use the technology to solve problems. Next, please. So there is such a thing as, what is it that our world needs the most today? Sustainable practices, sustainable design, and not destruction in the name of development. You remember, Kerala, you must have heard of Lottie Baker. How many of you have heard of Lottie Baker?
It's Larry Baker. Larry Baker. കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? കേട്ടവർക്ക് കൈവക്കാം.
So, you need
കേരളത്തിലെ-
to find out. You need to find out. So, give them, sir, give them a homework.
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ. ഇത് നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുക. ലാരി ബേക്കർ മാതൃകയിലുള്ള നിർമ്മിതികൾ കേരളത്തിലുണ്ട്.
Center for
തിരുവനന്തപുരത്തുള്ള
Development
ആരെങ്കിലും
Study,
ഉണ്ടോ?
Trivandrum. Wow.
തിരുവനന്തപുരം സൈഡിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ആരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ? ഇല്ല, കുട്ടികൾ.
So, Lottie Baker was an architect, right? And he is known for, he was British. He was from England, but he settled in your state, in this beautiful land, in Trivandrum. And he started building houses using local practices. If you are in Kerala, who should you build like? Your home should be like any other, because that is what you deserve. Not like somebody is an Italian or an American or somebody living in the mountains. So sustainable design, that is what he practiced. And there is a vast opportunity in this field. Sustainable practices. And what you're trying to do, use your knowledge of community, blend it with science and technology and create these practices. Architecture. Do you think in a very hot place, you need to create a building which has glass walls or concrete walls? No, because they trap heat. Concrete is a major pollutant. Cement is a major pollutant, responsible for 8% of the pollution in the atmosphere. Lottie Baker did not use any of these. He was using the beautiful building architectural practices, indigenous architectural practices of Kerala. Find out. So architecture. Should we sustainability? Air conditioners. Classrooms with no windows. Not sustainable. You need to build in a manner that would allow for airflow, that would make your dependence on energy less. Because what we do is we overuse energy, electricity, and that is damaging. So sustainable design. The other thing, trend-wise, is, and that is something that will change. What about a building? How long do you think it takes a single story house? Ground floor and one story. How long will it take to build? You all know this? How long will a single story house take to build?
ഒരു സിംഗിൾ സ്റ്റോറി, ഒരു നില വീട് നിങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എത്ര നാൾ കൊണ്ട് അത് തീർക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റും? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയാം. 1.5 years.
Okay.
On set.
Any other thought?
Any other answer?
So you have built a house. How long does it take to build a house? Huh? 1 year. You know what? There is a technology now and it's called 3D printing. 3D printing, so we know about printing. You know what it can print with? It can print with metal as well. Just feed data into it. Sidewall, 10 feet by 8 feet, right? And it will cut, laser cut and create. And then you have all this, the material, 64 walls, 2 hours, a roof, 3 hours. And all you need to do then is assemble it. So maybe 2 days, 3 days at most. And not just houses, tanks, right? Cars, everything is automated. So this is the trend, just know that. Not only a driverless car, but also cars that have been created using this technology. The world is changing and it's your world. You have to understand it and then see where you are headed. What is going to be most useful for you in order to make a choice of a career is to know how the world will change in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. Because you would always need to upcycle, keep learning always. So if you are a weightlifter and today the world is happy that you can lift 100 kgs, okay, so you can lift 100 kgs, but 5 years down the line, the world will ask you to lift 500 kgs. So what is it that you need to do? You need to be in practice always. There'll be some people who would have put on a lot of weight and they can't do it in 5 years. But you have been in practice. You can lift it. And that is what upcycling does. Those who are not in touch with the current trends will not make it because everything is changing. So that is the reality that we are faced with. And our education system has to take up the responsibility to inform the students and acquaint the students with how the world is changing. Next. Now, these were the trends. And look at some careers. The range of careers, how many different doors you have to enter once you get into design. Next, please. So the first one is product designer. The world needs product designers. Why? Because the world needs products. But what kind of products? Sustainable. Not products that damage, right? So, and this product arrangement, see, what you'll notice is, for instance, somebody creating a clay pot is also a product designer, creating a pot. But when we are talking about product designing, now we can have, for instance, our phone is a product. But is it only made of material or it has lots of other systems in it? Other systems in it. So it will use UX, UI and everything. So there are lots of, it's like cooking something. When you're cooking a dish, you need the dish designer. And if you're a dish designer, corporations as well. Software companies, you need these products. And not the old-time products. Everything is now, the platform is so new. It's AI, machine learning, and the kind of reality that you can create. Next. And the average, go back please. So on the other side, you can see what is it that each job currently plays. The data is latest. This is 2024. So in the US, an average product designer gets $100,000 a year. Do the maths. Multiply it with 80. What do you get? In India, the salary is close to 13 lakhs. And this is for a starter. If you're starting out. Next. Web developer, the front end and you are all familiar with website. How many of you operate websites or are already developing something? There must be many of you here.
ആരെങ്കിലും ഇവിടുന്ന് വെബ് ഡെവലപ്പർ ചെയ്യുന്നവരുണ്ടോ? അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്തവരുണ്ടോ? ഓക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. Some students have already started their pro.
I'm sure.
Yes, yes.
So you write programs, and of course, for that you need the languages, HTML, Java, Python, whatever, right? And are they in demand? They are in demand, very much in demand. Do you think a website developer will be looking for a job? Give him the microphone. He has something very interesting to share. Edwin, right?
One who stood കൈ പൊക്കിയാണെന്ന് നമുക്ക് ഫോണൊന്ന് കൊടുക്കാവോ?
So the question is a web developer going to need a job?
He would get a job when he's searching.
Okay.
And depending on the salary, he will constantly change the jobs because company offer more for the talent.
Very clever. So what will be a web developer do? 7 lakhs if you're looking for a job. You set up your own startup and you offer services. So from 10 different companies, you can have 7L coming each month, each year. And you give jobs. So that is the power. Am I right?
Yes.
Freelance. Wonderful. Next.
അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ക്ലാപ്പ് കൊടുക്കുക. എല്ലാവരും ഒരു ക്ലാപ്പ്.
Yeah, Edwin.
He's doing a great thing.
So it is 2 for Edwin. He has answered 2. And Varshini, she has answered 2 as well, right? Then digital designer, education, medicine, health. What is happening now? If there is a doctor sitting in, say, New York and the other one is in Japan and the patient is in, say, Thrissur, can something happen? Could a doctor, a surgeon here in Thrissur, in discussion with a New York doctor and a Japanese doctor, carry out a surgery? Yes. Right? Have you heard of this? It's happening. So there is a screen. From far now they can, control your laser cutters and everything. So I'm lying here in Thrissur on my operation table and a Japanese doctor is cutting my abdomen and doing things. And it happens because I can see. I can see because it's been programmed that way. It's been designed that way. Combining virtual reality, augmented reality, and the sharp presentation of whatever it is that the camera is capturing. So are digital designers in demand? Yes. Limited industry? No. It's education. I need a digital, you do digital work. Come, education, school, I need you. Because I need to create that course content. I need to create the curriculum. Health, please come. I need to show the doctor, what are the symptoms, right? Climate, I need a digital designer, which also helps us communicate, how to present the problem or whatever. Next, and again, salary bit. Not that you are interested in salary now at this point, are you? But it is. It's again around, in India, 7-8. But like I said, this could be there for maybe 1 year or 2 years. But as Edwin said, in 6 months' time, they understand, the company or the industry will understand how good you are. And there will be other industries who will be reaching out to you. Would you like to join us? We will give you 14. Yeah? And then the other company 6 months later will come 21. Very fluid, and the salaries are changing. And that is why you'll find most designers have their own setups, right? because that is when they're most secure. User experience, this is something that we have already talked about, UX, and most in demand within the tech sphere, as well as climate, education, wherever technology, like finance, the digital transformation of India. You know what we are great at? The digital transformation, GPay, Paytm, stuff like that. You don't need to carry money anymore. All the transactions are being created or done using, all these experiences. UI, UX. Next. UI is something that we have also, the interface, what is it that you see? A bank website, a school website, a lab, a physics lab website. How quickly can you obtain information? Does it get stuck? And we get irritated, when the interface is not good. We would like to move quickly and stop wherever we have to. All these social media like Instagram, you want it to get stuck? You want it quick. You want to have absolute control over what you are looking at, that interface. Right? Are they in demand? Of course, in the tech industry. And everything is connected with tech. Understand that. And same here, 81,000 will be about, multiply it with 80. And in India, same, around in the range of 6 to 8 lakhs. But then it changes dramatically in 6 months' time, 1 year time. If you are good, there'll be more. If you are not, you'll be there at that level. Next. Motion graphics. Graphics would mean printing, using text, lettering, a piece of newspaper or a magazine. But motion graphics are moving texts and moving images. A film, right? Do you think that industry is successful? Films? You wish to make films? How many of you would love to make films?
സിനിമ തുടങ്ങാൻ താല്പര്യമുള്ളവർ, സിനിമ എടുക്കാൻ താല്പര്യമുള്ളവർക്ക് കൈവക്കാം. അങ്ങനെ ആരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ? ഒരു സിനിമ മേഖലയിലേക്ക് പോകണം, സിനിമ എടുക്കണം.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, got it, not many. But then again, when we are talking about motion graphics, it's not only about cinema. It's also about creating stories, visual stories, which would create awareness among people. Right? Is it clear? Not only for films, of course for films. Look, how many of you study economics?
Please lift your hands.
Yeah.
Those who study economics.
So there is a branch of economics known as culture economics. Have you heard of it? And culture economics studies the economy created by cultural activities. And it's in trillions. So it contributes to the GDP of a country. So the GDP is not only determined by, say, agricultural production or industrial production, but it's also determined by the impact that culture economics makes. Films, arts, right? Paintings, literature, novels, and everything that is selling. That is culture economics. And culture, advertising. Right? So you need motion graphics designer, movie clips, trailers, ads, special effects. You are needed in the industry. So if I had an NGO in education or literacy in Uttar Pradesh, UP. I would like to create a documentary about what the problem is like. Who are these people? The history of the place. And why are they suffering? Because they don't have education. I will use this documentary then to obtain funding. Right? I can show it to the World Bank. I can show it to Bill Gates or any other funding agency. I can also show it to academic intellectuals, to school leaders who can, then take a decision that let us start schools there. So it has a tremendous impact potential, motion graphics, and that is why the industry needs, these designers. 5 to 8 lakhs a year. Next. Graphic designers, I have told you, all these beautiful posters that are here have been designed by you. You have seen the DISHA posters have been designed by them. And we will always need graphic designers to create such communications because the graphic communication is largely visual. So even if you don't know the language, right, you can understand what is the visual for because you can understand the image. Okay? So visual concepts in use image. To create animations. 6 lakhs in India is the next piece. Sustainable fashion designer. So fashion designer was what we would think design was about, one thing. But now, where is the focus? What kind of fashion designer? Sustainable. The old ways of fashion are gone. Because it's very damaging to the climate. It's very damaging to nature. Production of fabric, how do you create fabric, and the whole process, the wastage required. So you should read something about, the new fashion. It has to be sustainable. That is the new movement, right? And it's only just started. So in next 5 years, it's going to be a huge thing, because you can understand, the market for fashion. So people are wearing stuff that is damaging to nature, and we cannot continue with that anymore. So this is a new domain, and again, 6 to 7 is the starting that you can expect. Space designer or spatial designer. Earlier, it used to be known as interior design, but now it has become vast in its application. So it's not just about decorating a room or a house, right? When we talk about space design, we are designing, the whole complex here. DISHA, you have the seminar hall, you have the large exhibition hall, and there's so many other, pavilions. So all of this is space design. How do you enter? Where do you exit? Taking precautions against, accidents and hazards. So as space designers, responsibilities have become bigger. From pavilions to designing events, to designing sets, to designing virtual reality, designing the transport system of a country or a region or a state. You see the kind of maze that you have, these flyovers, over bridges, and then, lanes and passes and side roads. So transport designing, exhibitions, shelters. All the refugees coming in, where do we give them shelter? So space design and interiors also. Worry, the space designer will still be able to help you set up your room. But this is vast. And it's again in the same range, 7 to 8 lakhs when you start. And then you quickly make a mark, right, and improve. Space designers are also, by the way, they like to work, they set up their own firm and not just be happy with 7, but with clients. So they would have clients who would pay them that much. And something very interesting, and it's a very new field. It's called service design. It's also in some other ways known as system design. Right? Service design. System design. So any system is made up of little systems. So education system, for instance. Is education system just one path, or is it made up of students, made up of teachers, made up of administrators, made up of sports, community awareness, and 100 other things? These are units, and only when all these units come together that the education system will really work. If the teachers are bad, something wrong. If the students are not attending, something not working. If there is no sports, something not working. So everything has to work. So how does a service designer or a system designer make all these points or these dots connect? Right? So basically it's a very large portfolio. So if I hire you as a service designer that look at my problem, I'm running this. It could be a school, it could be an industry, it could be a production house, it could be a hospital or an NGO. You would like to look at each function and then connect these in a way that is sustainable and optimal, best. It delivers the best result. So it just goes on connecting, plus, 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 as you can see at the bottom. Right? So it's a field that is a new one relatively, but the world is, next please, the world is changing very fast. There are some trends. I think we have done enough of trend marking, but rapid innovation. The thing is, 15 years back, we were happy with a phone and we knew we could keep that phone for 2-3 years. A product will come and we knew whether a fridge will last for 10 years. But now what's happening? Things are changing very fast. And it's changing because there is a rush now to create a product that is more sustainable. So we are just going on improving, right? Everything is changing fast. Next. And just an example here, the shelf life of a product is limited. Just look at the YouTube video, 20 days, LinkedIn, 24 hours, Instagram, 21 hours, Facebook, 5 hours, tweet, 18 minutes. So everything is consumed and forgotten. So this is a world where you have to enter and make a mark with substantial, very significant contribution. And there are companies just waiting for you to add to this. Right? Next, please. So this is a student of ours, by the way. So he was studying in Italy, and he studied interaction design, which has to do with UI, UX, VR, AR, and he works with the police. So our students, for instance, would be working with police. They have to do surveillance. There is a Rath Yatra coming with lakhs of people. You need to monitor the crowd. So they would be using the satellites, imagery and everything to track and to create a three-dimensional rendering of the whole city and so on and so forth, right? So these are students who actually work with different agencies, government as well as non-government, and then they get picked up by these agencies for a job. So this is where we conclude. We are living in a fast-changing world. So anybody who thinks that the education is over with a degree, it's not. You have to be clever, you have to be imaginative, and you have to be prepared for what's coming next. So designers do that. Whatever field you go for, be prepared for the future because it's changing very quickly. So thank you.
കുറച്ചൊരു സമയം നമുക്ക് ഒരു ഒന്നുണ്ട് ഇൻറ്ററാക്റ്റീവ് സെഷനാണ്. യു ക്യാൻ ആസ്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്. ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ. ഐ തിങ്ക് പ്ലീസ് ബി സീറ്റഡ് സർ. വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ? ഡിസൈനിൻ്റെ ഒരു ലോകത്തേക്ക് അത് നമ്മൾ എത്തിച്ചു ഇല്ലേ കുറഞ്ഞ സമയം കൊണ്ട് അല്ലേ? പല വിധത്തിലുള്ള ഡിസൈൻ, എവറിതിങ്, എല്ലാത്തിലുമുള്ള ഡിസൈനിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ എത്തിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങളുടെ ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കാം. സാറ് അവൈലബിൾ ആണ്. സാറിപ്പോൾ അനന്ത് യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി, അനന്ത് നാഷണൽ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി രാജ്യത്തെ ആദ്യത്തെ ഡിസൈൻ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയാണ്. ഫുള്ളി ഫങ്ഷൻ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഡിസൈൻഡ് യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി, ദ ഓൺലി യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഫോർ ഡിസൈനിങ്. അനന്ത് നാഷണൽ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി അതിൻ്റെ പ്രൊവോസ്റ്റ് ആണ്, ഡീനാണ്. പ്രൊവോസ്റ്റ് മീൻസ് വൈസ് ചാൻസലർ പോലെ നമുക്ക് പറയാം. സോ നിങ്ങളുടെ ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ, ഇത്ര വലിയൊരു ആളെയാണ് നമ്മുടെ മുമ്പിലുള്ളത്. യു ക്യാൻ ആസ്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്. മീൻ വൈൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ കുറച്ച് അവിടെ ഇതുകൊണ്ട് നോട്ട്സ് സാറേ ഇതും കൊണ്ട് കൂടി സപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാം സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച്. വീണ്ടും കുട്ടികൾക്കുള്ളത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സമ്മർ സ്കിൽ പ്രോഗ്രാം ഈ അനന്ത് നാഷണൽ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ ഇഫ് യു ആർ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റഡ് യു ക്യാൻ ഹാവ് സമ്മർ സ്കിൽ പ്രോഗ്രാം ഫോർ 10 days. നിങ്ങളുടെ സമ്മർ വെക്കേഷനിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പോയി അവിടെ നിൽക്കാം. ഇതൊക്കെ സാധ്യതയാണ്. നോട്ട് ഓൺലി ഫോർ ദ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ്, ഫോർ ടീച്ചേഴ്സ്, എനിബഡി ഹു ഈസ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റഡ് ഇൻ ഡിസൈനിങ്. യെസ്.
Okay, sir. My name is Bennett. I am coming from Thrissur itself, and I am studying in Kalyan Siran HSS. And my dream is to become a designer, a fashion designer. And then I want to start my own startup and do my business. So what should I do? Should I choose NIFT or NID? Is there anything difference in it?
Choose Anant National University. That's the university that I represent. And we, at this point in time, would be quite ahead of either, a NIFT or NID.
Like, I don't want to study without a scholarship and something else. I just want to study with my own skills and my, when we are studying in NIFT and NID, we can use our scholarship and something else to study with it.
Yeah, so one thing that we are very unique about Anant, we offer need-based scholarships, which could be anywhere from 100% scholarship. Each year, we have 25%, 1/4 of our students who are offered 100% scholarship. So you need to look up the website. And from 100% of scholarship to 25% scholarship. So that is something that we do. And this is not something that NID or NIFT would be doing, at least at the level at which private university like ours can. And we have been doing that.
When we are studying in NIFT and NID, we can actually access the career opportunities are very wide and vast. And can you offer that as well?
Yeah, 100% placement. So whoever is registered, that's the mark that we have made. And not just placement, there are students who go abroad for their higher studies, they take admissions in top institutions for their masters or whatever. We have partnership with over 60 international institutions. Some of the top design institutions, their faculty come and teach, our students go there to study.
When we are studying in NIFT and stuff, we would access the career opportunities like the big brands of Gucci, Prada and Fendi Beauty. Can you offer that as well?
So we haven't done Gucci or Prada, but they have been very good. Like we work with ISRO, we work with the railways, we work with DRDO, which is defense, projects. So there are many other opportunities. Only Gucci or Prada are not there, but there are lots of other very famous sustainable design houses, right? Sustainable fashion. So these are new, since this is a new field, there are new industries that have emerged. Gucci, Prada are old and not that sustainable. So we prefer to work with sustainable enterprises.
Okay, then, after studying, can I access my business and, startups as well with you?
So exactly what I said, that we have an incubator at Anant. It's called Arambh. And what an incubator does, it supports the work of a student. So we help you set up a business, we support you, we get you funding, and it's been happening. I think there are about, how many? 105 startups already offer students in the university, and these are supported and by investors, the government, skill development and entrepreneurship ministry. So these are supported. These are all supported ventures. You just look up the website.
എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു അദ്ദേഹം വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഒരു സമ്മർ സ്കിൽ പ്രോഗ്രാം വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇവിടെ പോയി ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റും. 10 days. You can go to the university, you can see and you can see how it works, and you can be a part of this university, or you can do summer skill for a program for 10 days. The ഉപയോഗിക്കുക. Okay? Okay. Thank you.
No, I would just like to share something with you. It's common knowledge that not many people in our country, in India, are they really understand what design is. Because there has been this understanding that design has to do with art or beauty and it doesn't pay. We need to develop that understanding. The National Education Policy 2020 has understood the problem and have insisted on inclusion of creativity and critical thinking in our curriculum. And that will happen only if we introduce courses in design thinking. And courses in design thinking are supposed to start from class 6 and go up till class 12th. And just because, design thinking enables you to connect with society, to think creatively, to help you solve problems of the society and make an impact, and create your own job. So what my university, Anand National University, is doing, and again, it's India's first university to do so, it is reaching out to schools across the country. No university does it. We are moving, I'm traveling across the country from the Northeast to Kashmir, to Bengal, to Maharashtra, all the schools in big cities, schools in small villages, Kendriya Vidyalayas, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, visiting, going to all these places to offer workshops for students, for teachers, for principals, for parents in design and design thinking. Some schools do not have the resources, they do not have teachers to teach design thinking. And they would ask us if we could teach a course. We are also teaching courses in design thinking, semester long, 6 months, or 1 year long. We are doing it in Kashmir and several other institutions. So I would be very happy if you invite us to your school. I would be very happy to come with my team and to do these workshops on design and design thinking. Right.
ഓക്കെ, വേറെ ചോദ്യം? എനിബഡി ക്യാൻ ആസ്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. ഓക്കെ സാർ, അവിടെ ഒരാൾ ലിഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഒരു മോള്, ഒന്ന് മൈക്കൊന്ന് കൊടുക്കുക.
Hello. Hello, sir. I am very happy to be in this seminar. So my question is a simple one. If I want to be a designer, or if I want to go to Anand University, what do the quality you look for a designer?
Excellent question. What's your name?
Bindeshwari.
Vindeshwari.
Okay, I can give her a clap. എല്ലാവരും ഒന്ന് നന്നായിട്ടൊന്ന് ക്ലാപ്പ് ചെയ്യുക. നല്ല ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ഗുഡ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആൻഡ് ഹി വിൽ ബി ആൻസറിങ് ദ.
One, you have to be curious. You think being curious is important?
Yes, I guess.
Absolutely. So a young person is always curious. One is trying to understand what's happening, asking questions. So that is the first thing. And it's only because you ask questions, new questions, it's only because you are curious that you find new answers. And new answers are solutions. So the first thing is curiosity. The second thing that I would expect is awareness of your society. How well you understand your world. It's not enough for you to have scored high marks. That I scored 100%, I scored 99%. I'm not interested in that. You could have scored a 70% or 75%, but you know life. You understand your community. You read literature, you draw, you paint, you have extracurricular interests, and you are not just a bookworm. So you need to be aware, you need to have different interests, right? It's not important whether you can draw or paint, because art is here in your head, right? And art is nurtured or fueled by the experiences that you have had. You read, you listen to music, you play sports, you travel, you meet people, you talk to them, and you talk to all sorts of people, and not just rich people. Otherwise, you'll only have one tiny bit of an experience, and it will be a wrong experience. You need to know everybody. So these are some of the things that we look for. Curiosity, imagination, awareness, interests, right? and not necessarily a bookworm. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
താങ്ക് യു. സോ നമ്മൾ മറ്റേതെങ്കിലും ചോദ്യങ്ങളുണ്ടോ? ലാസ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. Anybody, any question? The last question, that would.
Okay. Can you suggest any essential habits that I should follow in my daily routine for becoming a better designer?
Which class are you in 12th? Which class are you in?
I'm in 12th class.
And what are these things that you're already doing?
I like to draw. Sometimes I will travel with my tiny journal and I would sketch, and those are the things that I've been doing now. So, can you suggest more essential habits?
I think those are the two that you have, that you do, are already essential. One is you travel. So when you are traveling, I would expect that you talk to people as well.
Not right now.
Yeah, so you start doing that.
Okay.
Always talk. When I'm in Thrissur, this is the first time that I'm here, and I'm really enjoying talking to people. Right? Yeah, all sorts of people. If you're traveling in a bus, talk to a person sitting next to you. Right? Or when you are in a shop, just listen to what's being said. This is where you don't have to pay anything extra for this.
Yes, exactly.
But it helps you build a picture inside your mind about what it is that people are interested in. How are people thinking? What do they have to say to me? If I ask for directions, do they say, no time? Or do they help you? So these will give you clues, right? So talk to people, draw, create a journal, because that will help you engage with what you have experienced and and with what you are trying to articulate visually. Apart from this, read
Okay.
and acquire experiences, right? Read about everything. Read science. I finished just about everything that there was to read by the time I finished school. I had read everything. So read. I'm not saying that you would be able to read that because you're already in 12th.
And I am an art student, humanities student.
Humanities.
Yes.
Okay. So read. You are drawing. Develop your interests. I'm sure. Do you listen to music?
Yes, exactly.
Everything is good. Take everything seriously.
Okay.
Find out. Keep asking questions. Something that Priyamvada did. Stay curious. How did this music start? How did that music start? Why is this place called Thrissur?
So you're saying I need to look for the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, that will happen. But keep asking questions. Right?
Okay.
It like kids would do. Like, why is the sky blue? And then you find a serious answer. If nobody was curious, nobody would find anything new. Right? It's only when you are curious, it's only when you ask questions. So anybody who is creative would be asking questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, your answer. From 9:30 to 11, okay, it's 11:10. സാറ് നമ്മളെ കൃത്യമായിട്ടൊരു ഡിസൈൻ്റെ ലോകത്തേക്കാണ് എത്തിച്ചത്. എല്ലാത്തിലും ഒരു ഡിസൈൻ ഉണ്ട്. ദർ ഈസ് എ ഡിസൈൻ ഇൻ ഈച്ച് ആൻഡ് എവറിഥിങ്. ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് എ ഡിസൈൻ ദാറ്റ് മൂവ്സ് ഓഫ് ടു കീപ് ഫോർവേഡ്, അല്ലേ, നമ്മൾ മുന്നോട്ട് നയിക്കുന്നതാണ്. സോ ദർ ഈസ് ഒരു ഇഷ്യൂ, എ പ്രോബ്ലം, ദെൻ ഹൗ ടു ടാക്കിൾ ദ പ്രോബ്ലം, ദ സ്റ്റെപ്സ് ഇൻ ഇറ്റ്. അതിനുശേഷം നേരെ ഏതാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രോഡക്റ്റിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞിരിക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ ഒരു വളരെ സമ്പുഷ്ടമായ ഒരു മേഖലയായിരുന്നു ഡിസൈൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. കുറഞ്ഞ സമയം കൊണ്ട് ഒത്തിരി ഈ ഒരു ലോകത്തിലേക്ക്, ഒരു ഡിസൈൻ്റെ ലോകത്തേക്ക് നിങ്ങളെ വഴിതിരിച്ച് വിടാൻ വേണ്ടി സാറിന് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. ഇനി നമുക്ക് ഇറ്റ്സ് ടൈം ടു ഗീവ് സം വോട്ട് ഓഫ് താങ്ക്സ് ടു ബിക്കോസ് ഹി ഹാസ് ടേക്കൻ സോ മച്ച് ഓഫ് പെയിൻ. Because I just saw him sweating. Yeah. So he had taken so much of time to interact with you, to be here, to be with us. So I just welcome Saina teacher to give vote of thanks to. Okay, teacher, come please.
So, Dr. ANUNAYA CHOUBAY, sir, it was really a very intimate interaction with the students, and it was really a very nice experience for all of us. And also, let me tell you that we really experienced the process of ideation in the field of this design world. And also, it was along with the awareness of this important trends, career trends in the design field also, and it was a very enlightenment to all of us, really a kind of intellectual enlightenment that we experienced here this 1.5 hours. It was so, we all feel so grateful to you, and let me express my sincere thanks to you on behalf of each one present here in this auditorium. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.